Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway, Season 1, Episode 10. And you might be telling by the background, I'm not in my usual place. I'm on the road. So I might as well just jump right into it. Go over some of my best, road trip songs that I listen to. I mean, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. But I know I personally, big fan of Drake, so I listen to Drake. But I listen to all different types of genres. It wasn't just hip hop and rap. That was maybe a good majority. But then I dove into the country because I was like, all right, you know what? I'm done with hip hop. Going in a little bit of Jordan Davis, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs. So yeah, I mean, I was just kind of bouncing back and forth with that. And then I got into a little bit of rock and roll. I was listening to some Kiss, Guns N' Roses. And then, went into a little bit deeper with some Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. So there's just so many different types of genres that you can really dive into. But really, what is the best road trip song? I mean, I was listening to Life is a Highway, and that's a really good song. I mean, the glare right now is crazy. But, yeah, so there's a huge variety. I mean, for me, I can't just listen to one genre of music. I have to diversify that because then I'm able to really get into different types depending on my mood. It really has to all do with how I'm feeling and what I really want out of it. And so yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of Drake, a little bit of Juice WRLD, Lil Wayne. I know my boy Max, he'll be happy with that big Lil Wayne guy. Definitely will have to get him on the podcast to talk about it, especially he's a big 49ers fan, so I want to hear his input on that. So he'll be coming up soon. And yeah, and then there's just a lot of different types of music going on in the car. And that's what it has to be for a road trip. I think there's no other way around it. You have to diversify your song list. I mean, I'll go through my Apple Music because I personally love Apple Music. Definitely better than Spotify, in my personal opinion. But make sure to listen on Spotify, though. Yeah, so I mean, I dove into Drake, had my Juice WRLD phase. Not gonna lie, had a few Swiftie songs in there, like You Belong With Me, our song Love Story, Bad Blood. Closeted Swiftie, I guess you can call me. Not a fan, though, like Taylor Swift, at all these Chief games, though. That's another story, though, especially. Listen to a little bit of 21 Savage. Big fan of Metro Boomin as well. So yeah, I listened to a lot of his songs that he produces. Again, I went into Certified Lover Boy with Drake. I really did because that's a classic. CLB is a classic. That's what it's going down as. Some beautiful songs on there. Yeah, and then I went in my Jordan Davis country kind of phase. Big fan of Mr. Brightside. That's any good party song that you want to have. You have to have Mr. Brightside on that playlist in order to get really everything going. So yeah, I mean, I really had a diverse portfolio in this. I'm just, like I said, going through my Apple Music right now. Then I went into soundtracks. I went into movie soundtracks. So one movie in the soundtrack I really like. I mean, I love Star Wars soundtracks. John Williams, Chef Kiss, absolutely beautiful. So his songs and what he composes is amazing. So I really enjoy a lot of the soundtracks for movies, films, plays. I dove deep into the Hamilton, especially on a road trip. I was like, okay, I need to really shake it up. So I went into the soundtracks, was jamming out to Hamilton on the drive down. And that was really good. I love the Oppenheimer soundtrack. That is phenomenal. So I listened to a lot of that. I mean, there's not a lot of words, but it's just the melody. Absolutely beautifully composed. Especially Can You Hear the Music? Has to be one of my favorite songs off that movie. And then I dove back into Drake. So I went around it all. Like I said, went in the country, rock and roll, all that. So let me know, what is your favorite song to listen to on a car ride down? It could be genre, it could be many things. I just want to know because I'm genuinely curious. I don't know if I'm the only one who has a road trip playlist and I'm just jamming out to a bunch of different songs across different genres. Because that, to me, I need to stay focused and if it changes up, I go from one Drake, then boom, I'm listening to Hamilton. and then next song is Taylor Swift. So I need to have that diversity in my playlist, because then I'll be able to stay awake, stay focused, and be able to just kind of continue that drive down. But let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite and go-to songs on a road trip? Because I think it's important. It's the biggest part of the road trip is what you're listening to. Of course, you should be listening to Halfway with Hathaway, our podcast, on your road trip as well, to have yourself up to date on all the sports news and fun conversations like this. But I mean, I was like driving down, it was like snowing, and like driving in the snow is not fun, that's for sure. And especially when it's like heavy coming down like that, and the roads are all salty and terrible. My car is an absolute mess right now, especially the outside of it. It's very dirty. And the thing is, I just got the car too, so now like it's a brand new car. It was so clean, and now the outside is just all salty, sandy, and has a bunch of just like dirt on it. Now I'm like mad, but it is what it is, and was able to get to my destination safely. So very happy for that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's so important to have a good portfolio when you listen to music. But then you got to be careful of the drivers out there. That's one of the biggest things. It's like, because all these different states drive differently. Once you hit like the South, you're going like at least 75, minimum on the highway. But like in New England, the speed limit's only 65. So then you have to adjust to that. And then you have the crazy drivers who just bob in and out and weave. I don't know what state has the worst drivers. Me personally, I think it's Massachusetts. That state has to have the worst drivers. I mean, there's a reason why they're called massholes, for a reason, because they are crazy drivers. I mean, but yeah, but once you hit the South and it's just like straight road, it's flat, it's not curvy, windy, hilly, you're fine, absolutely fine, because then nobody's bothering you. But the worst part about it though is it's so boring. There's nothing around you when you're driving down south. It's just like straight line, trees, no stops for the next like 20 miles that you're driving down. And so yeah, that's why like road trips, they have to be enjoyable, because then you won't be able to quite get into it too much. That's why you need good songs. That's why. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys listen to podcasts? Do you guys listen to music? If you drive in straight silence for like a long period of time, I mean, that's criminal. That's a criminal offense. It has to be. You can't just sit in like a 10-hour car drive listening to nothing. I mean, maybe some people are radio fans. I don't know. I don't listen to the radio as much because I have Apple Music, so I'm able to just be able to like listen to whatever I want. But I can't listen to the radio. I mean, with the ads and like the commercials and stuff like that, I'm not trying to hear a car salesman talk after I hear a banger song. So I mean, I think that's changed. I think the radio industry has certainly changed to the point where it's like nobody really listens to it. They had the song that video. What's the song called? Hold up, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I want to make sure it's right. Video killed the radio star. Streaming killed the radio. I mean, somebody should make a song about that. But it's right though. I mean, video killed radio. Streaming's killing both of those. It's just the world we live in. It really is. And I digress. I do. Because we need to get into the meat of what we're going to be talking about today. NFL playoffs. First round wild card. That was fun. That was a good watch. You have Texans winning, beating the Browns. Love CJ Stroud. Phenomenal game. They're going to be playing Baltimore this weekend. And then you have Kansas City beating Miami, which I thought was going to happen. I didn't want it to, but I knew that was what was going to happen, especially with that weather that they were experiencing in Kansas City. And then you have Buffalo beating Pittsburgh after they postponed the game because of the weather. And to me, football should be played in all elements. Everyone's saying, now we need domes on all these stadiums and everything like that. The same conversation happened after the MetLife Super Bowl. But football should be played in all these elements. It's only right. When you think of football, you think of the winter. You think of the cold weather. So that's why there shouldn't be a dome. The new Highmark Stadium should not have a dome on it. Beautiful new stadium. The renditions are amazing, but you can't have a dome because that's like the 12th man. The weather. Legion of Boom had it, in Seattle. Their fans were so crazy. Like, that was an extra minute. The elements, you have to learn to play in all these elements. You can't just be playing in a closed stadium 70 degrees all the time. That's why Miami lost. And that's why the Patriots historically, when Brady was around and all that, when they would play Miami, in Miami, week 17, they'd always lose because it's already January and Patriots are used to the cold. And then they go down to sunny 75-degree Miami and they're playing a football game indoors. I mean, that's just like nobody can always play in those types of atmospheres because if you control it all, it's not fun. You should be playing in the snow. I remember some of the great games, these snow games that the Patriots had against the Titans. My dad was there. It was like negative something degrees outside. And it's just those moments that you can be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. I've sat in freezing cold football games before. It sucks in the moment, but it's like, oh, yeah, like this is what it's all about. This is what football is. So play the football games in all elements. We have Texans, Ravens. They play this weekend in Kansas City. And Buffalo, round 3 of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I'm hoping Josh Allen takes this one. They're going to be at home in Buffalo. Should be fun. This right here, dare I say, it's going to be the new Brady Manning. This is the 3rd year in a row that we've seen these two teams facing each other. Yeah, no, it's a good comparison. I'm not saying both these guys. Patrick Mahomes nowhere close near Brady. Josh Allen's nowhere close to Peyton Manning. But it's that kind of feel. That's what you're feeling from it in a game like this. And then the NFC. Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys, first 7 seed to win in a game like that. I'm going to get into Mike McCarthy in a little bit. But I love Jordan Love. No pun intended. Great quarterback. That's just how it is. I think this is the youngest team in the NFL. And they're playing amazing football. So I think the Cowboys really need to reevaluate some things. It's disappointing. I said it on my podcast. I look like a fool now. I've said it every single year. This is the Cowboys. This is the year the Cowboys are going to win. I sound like a deranged Cowboys fan at this point. Because I think they are. Dak Prescott's an elite quarterback. MVP candidate always. But they just choke in the playoffs. It's proven. They can't do it. So year after year, everyone's going to sound like idiots because they keep saying, the Cowboys are going to win, Cowboys are going to win, Cowboys are going to win. But guess what? They're not. So I love to see the Packers winning. I really do. Jordan Love's great. I'm here for the upsets. I have no play in this whatsoever. The Patriots aren't in it. But I'm watching this now from like a media aspect of it. This is a great playoffs. And then you have a thriller of a game with the Rams and Lions. I don't think that the Detroit fans should have booed Matthew Stafford after he gave everything to that city. The reason why there's still a franchise, the reason why there's still we still talk about him is because of Matthew Stafford. So it shouldn't have booed him, but that was a great game to watch. I loved it. Jared Goff, that's his city now. Dan Campbell said it. It's his team. Detroit is his city. Really fun to watch. Probably one of the best games I've seen these last few playoffs. And then you have Eagles, Bucks. And then the Bucks, I said it last week. They were going to beat the Eagles. I don't think this Eagles team's ready at all to be competing again for a championship. They just don't have. I don't know what it is. You look at their season. They started out 10-1, and then they fall their last 6 games to 1-5, and then finish the season 11-6. Yeah, no shot that they were going to win the playoffs. Baker Mayfield's balling right now, and this is the Baker Mayfield a lot of people want to see, and I'm excited. So in the NFC, we're going to have Packers, 49ers. Great history between those two teams, so that's going to be spectacular to watch. Probably going to be the game I'm going to be like glued to the TV for. Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, 2 young quarterbacks. Yeah, I'm in there. And then you have Detroit and Tampa Bay. Another great game. You have the underdogs with the underdog. I put in underdogs. The Lions are a 3rd seed, and the Bucs are a 4th seed. But Detroit hasn't won a playoff game, up until last week, in 32 years. Yeah, everyone's going to be counting them out, but I'm here for it. I want to see Detroit win because it's just so good as a football fan to just watch the Lions. And then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers soon, and I love Baker Mayfield. He's a great quarterback. I'm excited to see him playing at a high level where everybody can watch him on the national stage. So the playoffs, oof. Good storylines, like I said last week, very good storylines, but just some juicy stuff. Who do I think is going to win? I think Baltimore is going to beat Houston, but it's going to be a good game. I could see that game going in overtime, if I'm going to be honest. But I have Baltimore winning, and give me Buffalo. AFC Championship game. Mark it on your calendars. Then I'm going to go Lions, 49ers, NFC Championship game. Those are the winners of this week. So those are my picks. We'll come back in a week, see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. But so far, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think I did say the Cowboys were going to beat the Packers. But yeah, while we're on the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy needs to go. He really does. Bill Belichick should have been hired. Jerry Jones should have gone for him instead of keeping Mike McCarthy as the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. He's 42-25 overall in the regular season. In the Mike McCarthy era, the Cowboys have finished 1st or 2nd in 3 of the 4 years of him being there. So it'll be very interesting to see. My DoorDash order came halfway through recording this. So, I'm just going to pick up where I left off about Mike McCarthy. I think it should have been Bill Belichick as the head coach. He's probably going to go to Atlanta. He's had 2 interviews already. And honestly, I wonder what those interviews were like. Was he were the questions hey, give me a time and place where you faced adversity? I'm yeah, no. So I was down 28-3 in the Super Bowl against this one team. I could just picture how that conversation is probably going. It would have been so funny just to kind of be a bug on the wall for that one, because it's just, to me, that's just hilarious. But back to Mike McCarthy, though, 42-25 in the regular season. Like I said, 3 out of the 4 seasons he was a top 2 team. And then let's look at the playoffs. He's 1-3 as a coach for the Cowboys in the NFL playoffs. 2021, lost to San Francisco in the wild card game. Lost to San Francisco in the divisional game. Lost to Green Bay in the wild card game. And then he went 1-1 in 2022. But at some point, if you're Jerry Jones, you have to be listen, there needs to be a change. I thought Bill would have done great with Dak Prescott. Would have been able to develop him into more of an elite quarterback. So yeah, I think with that, it's just kind of funny to me that they're still keeping him, and I don't think they should. This is a guy who likes the Cowboys, who tolerates them. But yeah, no, they didn't even be better. 1-3, in the last 4 years. It's inexcusable to me. And then, with more head coaching news, we're just going to kind of stay on that page here. Antonio Pierce, going to be the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. I like it. He's a great player coach. I think I said this last week when the Patriots hired Gerard Mayo as their head coach. They're both very similar. Very similar. So I'm excited just to see that, especially the players love him in Vegas. Max Crosby threatened to he threatened to be traded. He was going to request a trade if they didn't ask him to be his head coach. So yeah, I think it's just it's good that the players are going to rally around somebody who they value and who they're able to win for and play for. That's what a lot of this is. So yeah, Mike McCarthy, he needs to go. He really does. Because if you're Dak Prescott, you want to win. You want to, take the Cowboys, who have been belittled for so many years about not winning, a historical franchise. You have to sit here and be like, okay, I want to win now. And if it's not with my coach, I have to go elsewhere. I think that's what it has to be at the end of the day. CeeDee Lamb's a phenomenal wide receiver. It's just they choke in the playoffs. There's just no way around it. I don't know what else needs to change. They need to be healthy and maybe a few aspects here and there. But they're downplaying the Packers. Jordan Love is just playing so great football. So to me, it's just like he needs to go. I don't want him as the Cowboys head coach anymore. He's just not good for the team. This NFL playoffs has been amazing to watch, though. I mean, NBA, it's been busy. Hasn't been like a lot of like crazy news. I mean, unless I'm missing something. But the Pelicans, they're 5th in the West. A team that's been ascending. You know, they used to be 11th a few weeks ago. This team's looking good. I love Jordan Hawkins. I absolutely love him. I mean, one of the best shooters in this rookie class by far. He's definitely going to make a name for himself in the NBA if he keeps shooting the way he is. And then UConn, number 1 team in the country. I said it last week. They should be number 1, and I'm glad that they are. First time in, what was it, like 15 years, they're the number 1 team in the country. Absolutely amazing. Donovan Clingan came off the bench, played 15 minutes for the Huskies. Had a good outing. Good to see him back. I talked to Danley Hurley today, actually, on the phone, and he was saying to me, he was just like, he's looking really great, and the minutes restriction is going to come off for Donovan Clingan. So expect him to come off the bench on Saturday versus Villanova, but he's going to be playing a lot more minutes. And he feels good, Clingan does, and he's been playing phenomenal. One of the best centers in college basketball right now. I hope he stays all 4 years at UConn. I think he can really develop his game and then go high in the draft. Right now he's projected 21st in the NBA draft. I think if he stays all 4 years and really solidifies him as one of the top UConn players of all time, he'll go top 10, I think, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not even trying to be like biased or anything. I really do think that Donovan Clingan has an opportunity to be top 10 in the NBA when he decides to go. But I don't think it's this year, especially with the injury that he's been battling, several foot injuries. Yeah, no, I think just wait till next year, really develop a name. But they held Creighton to 48 points. This is one of the best shooting teams in the country, Creighton is. I mean, McDermott's a great coach for Creighton, but yeah, I'm super thrilled that they were only able to hold them that. Low-scoring game, but UConn's a second-half team. I've been saying it. I've been writing in my articles that I write for them as well, that they are a second-half team. In the first half, it's close. It's like, okay, this is going to be down to the wire. I'm not going to be excited for it because it's just going to be giving me so much anxiety, but then they blow them out the second. Cam Spencer, that's my spirit animal. He really is. And then Tristan Newton, all-American point guard, one of the top in the country, hands down. Hands down. Like, if you think otherwise, you can debate a wall, because Tristan Newton really is one of the best point guards in the country. Putting up most triple-doubles in UConn history. He's only been here 2 years. If he wasn't a transfer, there was a debate. I'm talking to some UConn friends that I know and some fans, and they're like, well, if Newton wasn't a transfer, he'd probably be one of the greatest players in UConn history. I mean, think about it, though. UConn's had some phenomenal players. Kemba Walker, Ray Allen, Andre Drummond, Rip Hamilton. Some really good names have come from UConn that played in the NBA. But I thoroughly believe that Tristan Newton probably could go down as one of the best UConn players of all time. If he brings a second national championship to this team, yes, he will be. He will be top 3. I mean, if I had to rank my top UConn players, though, give me Kemba at the 1, Ray Allen at 2. I'd put Tristan Newton at 3. I also love Jordan Hawkins, too, but he's not top 5, I don't think. I mean, yeah, so that's my top 3 for UConn. It'd go Kemba, Ray Allen, Tristan Newton, just because I'm a huge fan of him. I mean, I'll have to bring Kyle back on the podcast. Him and I have been talking a lot lately. He was out there. He was out there for the Creighton game at like 6 in the morning. I think he texted me. And I was like, are you serious, man? In the freezing cold. I think what he's done and what the students at UConn have done, they're competing with the Cameron Crazies to be some of the best fans in the country. No doubt about it. I mean, Cameron's a hard place to win at. But I think that their fans and their excitement and their passion, it's up there with the Cameron crates. I mean, granted, they're not camping out in tents for months at end just to go watch UNC lose to Duke. I would. Can't stand UNC. But UConn deserves to be number one. The first time in the Danny Hurley era, UConn is number one. So happy. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much great basketball going on in college sports. I love how any given night you don't know who's going to win. It can be anybody. But UConn, they can win back-to-back national champions. I'm 100% positive about that. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up today on Halfway with Hathaway. Traveling on the road. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure to comment, follow, subscribe. Give me that 5-star rating as well. Appreciate your time. Have a good one.